Hey guys, gals, everyone out there. Donny Walker here, of course. So back to the 2165 jonsered bottom end rebuild. I got the cases cleaned up, and like in the previous video I told you the PTO side of the crankcase, the clutch side, bearing was loose in the pocket. That's why someone had put a steel kind of pin in there to try to hold it, but didn't work right. So we're going with a Husky half and the original jonsered starter side, magneto side half. Bearings are still in it, the old bearings. I'm going to press them out right now in my press here. Surfaces are all cleaned up. I did put these in my ultrasonic cleaner. I'll just warn you, if you put them in there, it dulls the paint. So if you're worried about paint sheen and all glossy stuff, don't do it like that. Wash it with solvent and try to clean it as best you can. Maybe dishwasher would be better. Anyways, it's still a good case, though. There's nothing wrong with it. All threads are good, all the pockets are good. So let's get these bearings out. I'm going to show you how I install them over there, and then we're going to come back here and install the crank. These little arbor presses are dynamite. I have all these different little jigs and pushers. This one will push the bearings out, and it'll also install them. But we're going to use some heat as well. Plus, I got the bearings sitting in ice right now, which I had them in the freezer. And I just got them in a bowl of ice, so they're shrunk a bit, so they'll go in easier. Okay, so let's get our bearing out. Usually come out pretty easy. Sometimes you can put a little heat on them if you want, which makes them easier. But for some reason, I just didn't do that this morning. But you can, okay? So there's the magneto side out. We'll get the clutch side out. This just fits it just right so you don't damage the case. There we go. Second one out. Now we'll go back to our other table, over to my bench, and I'll show you how I put the new ones in. Remember, I'm a little slow still. Got this Walker's got this walker here. So let's walk over. Get our cases over here. We'll turn the camera around. And we'll start with the clutch side bearing. We get you focused in. Hope everyone's having a good week. Fall is here, September 15th, eh? Wow. Okay, so there's our bench. Let's zoom in out a little bit, and you'll get the idea. You can zoom, when you watch the video, you can zoom in and out. I know it's hard for me to film real good, but I'm just a one-man band. Okay, both cases are here. Let's give these pockets a little spray clean, or a cleaner of your choice. I'll use brake clean, dries up nice, cleans stuff off nice. Okay, the bearing race is good. Our spot where the seal's gonna press in is in good shape on this one. And I have them a used crank because the other crank was damaged. If you remember, the end of it where you put your clip and washer on was damaged. Okay, let's wipe them out. There's our ignition side. Okay, all good to go. So now I'm going to use some heat, and then we're going to plug the bearings in. At least with these bearings, they only go in so far and drop in. You don't have to preset them to a certain distance like you do on a 385 or a 390, or a lot of almost all the still models are like that on the clutch side. Okay, let's get our handy torch here. Everyone should have one of these. And what degree do I heat them to? I don't know. I do the spit test. Try not to catch your bench on fire. Work it around. You can almost see the paint this color when it's almost ready. This is the newer reinforced 372 case versus the non-reinforced original 371 or early 2065s or even 365s. The cases are all the same. I forget what year we changed them. It was somewhere, I don't know, 20 years ago. maybe longer. Can't quite remember. Kind of feel it. Yeah, it's getting warm. I like to get it good and hot. You can't wreck it. You're not going to melt it. This will expand enough and the bearing will just plop right in. The bearing's nice and cold, sitting under the ice here in this bowl. You just plop right in. Have a little 2-stroke oil ready. I put on the bearing right away. Get it lubed up. Don't want to heat up that plastic cage of the bearing. I see guys heat bearings up. I'm like, why are you heating the bearing up? You don't need to heat a bearing up. You gotta shrink it. Okay, that feels like it's pretty good. Starting to smoke, eh? Try her out. Look at that. Right in, no problem. Get some oil on it right away. Cool her down faster. Okay. Spin it around. There we go. There's number 1. So that's our clutch side one. Now let's get our flywheel side one in. Same thing. Let's get this baby ripping. Yeah, I put my bearings in the freezer just for, you know, an hour or something. Not like overnight or anything. Just a bit to get it cooled. Then put it in the bag with some ice, and it keeps it cool. Almost any saws you do like this. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, there's special tools from Husqvarna and Stihl to pull crankcases together and push cranks in. They take forever. You know, Stihl's got that tool with about 1 million holes in it for every different model. You use different size screws for different models, and it tells you in the workshop manuals which hole or which tool to use. Well, I just use these ones that I've made up, and I can do them probably in a quarter of the time it would take a technician to do it with all their tools. I've done a few. As you know, Donny's been around. Had the enjoyment to hang out with my dad the other day and helping him out quite a bit. We actually went up to the Nanaimo Lakes area and had a celebration of life for an old family friend. He's a logger, very well known. A lot of loggers were there. It was a very nice scene beside a lake, nice barbecue. It was nice to see a bunch of old friends. It's too bad you got to see old friends by going to stuff like that these days. Okay, I think we're pretty hot now. Next bearing. Kerplunk, the way it goes. Right in there like it just falls in, right? I'm using Buckin's thing, kerplunk, eh? Kerplunk. Here it's sizzling. Oil's frying up, ready for the fries. Okay, so there we go. There's our bearings are in. Wipe off a bit of this oil. And we're going to put our crank in now. So let it cool down a little bit. We got our gasket sitting here ready to go. Our seals sitting here. Our little O-ring that'll go on the crank when we put the after we put the PTO side on. Yeah, it's coming together. Let that cool down. Wipe this one off. We're going to set the ignition side. We're going to put the crank in the ignition side first. Then the PTO side on. So first we're going to put our crankcase gasket on, and it'll cool it down a little bit more while we're doing that. Let's get our dowels in our holes where the dowel pins go. Just tap them in there. No matter what side you put them on, it's going to bolt together. I like to use a little bit of moto seal on the crankcase, the halves between the between the gasket on each side. I don't know, just a habit of mine. Why not? A little extra protection, and actually probably make that gasket come off easier next time you need if you have to take it apart again to put another bearing in sometime, or if you smash it, you got to change the casing. Husqvarna gaskets are terrible to get off. It took me quite a while. That's the thing when you rebuild these used saws or even new ones, when you got to rebuild one. It just takes time, the cleaning and preparation, right? You know, you don't want to watch that all day, right? You want to watch something being done. You don't want to watch part cleaner flying around and me scraping and cussing. And that's why I surface each side of it too on my machinist block, so I get it just right, so there's no humps and bumps or little ledges on it. Okay, you don't need a lot, just enough, eh? This stuff, you know, makes up a couple thou in gap, right? Okay, that's enough. We'll put our gasket on. Okay. Then simply just apply a little to the gasket. Now you don't have to put it on the other case. Like I say, just a thin coat. Yeah, tonight I'm going to go through some more boxes of my dad's stuff I've moved here. Tools, weird parts. You name it, man. He wasn't a hoarder, but he just liked to keep stuff that he thought maybe someone could use someday. Hey, we all think that way. But if you aren't using it in a couple of years, throw it away. Okay, we got that on there now. Now we're going to go back over. We're going to press the crank into the case, and then we're going to press the other case on top into it. So I like doing the PTO or the flywheel side first. I don't know why, I just do. So let's see if I can hobble over and get this over there and I'll show you that stuff. Yeah, Gimpy's getting there. Gimpy, come on. Okay, get you focused in there. Let's go to 2 zoom. Okay, so there we go. Take my other sleeves back over there. I can almost walk. Almost walk. We're getting there. Okay, here we go. Let's get our flywheel side in first. Turn our press. Get one of these lovely units on here underneath it to support it, so the crank will just push down through. There we go. There's our magneto side in. Okay. I'm going to take the PTO side, clutch side, set it on there, keep it square so you don't move that gasket. Okay. I'm going to simply put another one of these pushers on here, and that's going to push it together. Okay, make sure your rod's up straight, cases are pretty lined up, and press down slowly. Make sure you get it onto the dowels. There you go. That's together now. Give it a little tug there. Well, it's on. So there you go. There's your crank installed in the 2165. Make sure it's turning right. After you bolt it up, if it binds up a bit, sometimes you got to get a little smack on the side here, but we'll go through that in a second after we put our bolts back in. Let's wobble back over there. There we go. Husky jonsered. Jonsered. Or Husqvarna. However you want to say it. Alright, back over here. We're going to put our seals in. Need my little pushers again because I use them to push the seals in. Okay, let's do our flywheel side first. We're going to put the screws in first, oh sorry. Let's get our 4mm T-wrench, our 6 screws. Clean, make sure the heads are cleaned out so the Allen wrench fits in good. Tighten it up like you're doing tightening a head. I don't use an impact for this. I don't like to ruin, I don't want to strip anything out. Do it by hand. You could run them in with the impact, but you know, I don't bother. I don't. It doesn't take that long. Tightness, I just tighten them good up with my hand. There's probably a spec from Husqvarna, but I've never gone by any of their tolerances on torquing or anything. I've just been doing so many for so long. I just know what it should be, and I don't have any problems with it. I even asked an engineer once, well, what's the cylinder tightness for the cylinder? What's the torque spec? Oh, I don't know. We just tighten them up by hand. I'm like, okay. But really, it's probably about 110, 120 inch-pounds. Okay, so let's tighten it crisscross. Let's make sure the crank is centered. You hear that little stress knock there? Okay, get all 6 of them done up. Okay, and yeah, it doesn't turn very good. So we're going to get the clutch and the flywheel nut, and we'll see which one we need to give her a little smack each way. Usually it's the flywheel one, so we'll just get that on there so you don't damage the thread. Put the nut on so it's even with the end of the crank, so you're not beating on the nut or the end of the crank. Get it on there. Give it a little tap. Look at that, freed right up, okay? So that's all it needed, that little bit. It's usually that side. Okay, put the nut back in your box, your clutch back. Now we can put our seals in. So we'll put the flywheel side seal in first. And this one, you don't need a seal sleeve or anything on both sides here. So you just basically set it on there. And you want this seal, I had a little bit of oil on the crank there. This seal should be kind of even with this red part here, where it tapers down at the bottom of the taper. The tool I have from Husqvarna sets it kind of just perfect, but just watch it as you do it. Just stop, look, but you don't go too far in case the tool's not quite right. Okay, that looks about right. You see what I mean? Right at the bottom of that spot there, that groove. These holes are for a heater system if it was a heated saw. Spin it a bit. Got a little drag now because of that seal. All good. PTO side seal. Again, you don't need a seal sleeve. Set it on there. And just simply take another pusher and bang it on till it gets into the case. That's it. Okay? So that's that one installed. The flywheel side installed. Now here's the magic O-ring that everyone talks about. So what the O-ring does is seals between the bearing, inner bearing race, and the crankshaft, so no air will suck through there. And of course, people all ask about the sleeve. So the sleeve for the crank is right here. So the sleeve, the outer part of this sleeve is what contacts the seal to seal properly. Okay, so the outer part of it. So the seal's got to, the seal or little O-ring's got to go on first. Okay, just work it down past the threads, past the part of the crank there, and just simply push this on. I actually have a habit of putting a little glue on there. I don't know, just always have. Why not? A little extra protection. Okay? Even if you didn't have an O-ring, you can put glue on there and it'll seal more than likely without that O-ring, but use the O-ring anyways. Okay, just a little bit of moto seal. And when you put it down, just kind of turn it slowly till it seats into that seal. There you go. Now your seals are in, your little O-rings in. Next stage is to start bolting up your oiler system, and then we'll get all that on, and then we'll get it to where we're ready to put the top end on, and I'll show you how we degree wheel this motor and what we're going to set it at for a good, reliable work saw. There you go. There's the 2165 Husky jonsered build, and we'll be back probably tomorrow to show you another episode of this. So doesn't take that long, eh? Just got to have the right stuff and the right, you know, got to think about it right. It's not that hard. It's just about getting it clean and having everything prepared, ready to go. Put those bearings in some coldness and heat up that case, and kerplunk, hey bucket, it just all goes back together perfectly. Keep your saw onto it, stick your knife, rubbing the road. Have a great day. Fall is here. The leaves are falling. It's beautiful. I know the guys out east, yeah, some guy sent me a picture of somewhere out by Toronto the other day, and wow, beautiful out there. Anyways, get outside, enjoy the good weather that's still here for fall, and have a great day. Bye now.